Oh. Welcome to Meaningful. Whenever you have a significant day in your life, it is an opportunity for you, for me, for all to reflect more. In the language of this chapter of Bhagavad Gita, to nurture sattva more. This morning I was planning to get up at 4 and to go for a long jog, be with all of you, shift to our Prithvi Utsava. But Chuka woke me up at 3:30 and said that he was scared. So he and I slept on the bed together. And he was having a tough time sleeping. And around the time of 4, I said, Chuka, can I go downstairs and get ready to jog? And he said, if you go downstairs, I have to come with you. In a very objective way, like we're partners in this business of some sort. And so I ended up staying in bed until around 6. And as I was lying there, not sleepy, hoping to do this and that, I was reflecting on a reflection I've had recently, which is shared on social media right now. Our days are like rivers. Our years are like oceans. Our life is like water. Let it flow. Every one of us has tough days. But when you compare that to an ocean, it's not as tough. Every one of us has tough years. But when you compare that to life, it's not tough. To let it flow. I had shared yesterday in the Vivaha that I facilitated that we didn't engage in Kanya Dana, we engaged in Bala Dana. And the sentiment for the parents, for the caregivers, is you have to keep moving. You can't hold on to your child, you can't hold on to anyone or anything forever, to keep moving. I had flown from Detroit to Reagan yesterday using Delta. Delta slogan is keep climbing. Everything's aligning to chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita. In verse 10, Sri Krishna is giving us the survey of the different qualities in a specific way. He's sharing that the qualities are constantly changing. Just think of yourself. Some mornings you wake up sattvic, sometimes rajasic, mostly tamasic. So they're always changing, but we are dominantly one guna, one quality. And I gave you a corporate visualization to try to understand the combination of your qualities. Sometimes you are a CEO with these great reflections, sometimes a VP executing a lot, sometimes a manager having to tend to different tasks, sometimes a member. You just have to work, take out the garbage, go for a long drive. You have to play all of these roles. Yes. In verse 11, the survey goes into specifics. In 11, Sri Krishna is sharing how you know if you're predominantly sattvic, which in English is quietness. You live carefully. You care fully for every experience that you have. And the practicality of this is, if you live carefully, this helps you to remember. We have forgotten sat, that is existence, awareness, joy. By living carefully, we start to remember existence, awareness, joy. Trying to make this more practical. One who's living carefully, they're better at planning. They know that this is going to happen tomorrow, this is going to happen next week, so they don't procrastinate. They're being careful in terms of traveling, packing, interacting with others, and so on. If you procrastinate, then that's really anti-sattva. In verse 12, again, specifics, Shri Krishna is sharing not about sattva, but how do you know if raja is your default? Though the word lobha is used, which means greed, what precedes that is krodha, or anger. Anger is a notion of a superiority complex. I'm getting angry at those who are inferior to me. It is a strong expression of ego. Now, in reference to greed, this is a notion of an inferiority complex. I don't feel I'm enough, so I keep building not what I am, but rather what I have. More articles, more articles, more articles. And so the final thought I shared with everyone was the antidote to greed is generosity. And I gave a specific framework. Those who have the courage to give 20% of their resources to those who need it, they are living for humanity. The reference for that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Those who have the courage to give 10% of their resources to those who need it are living for their community. The courage is not as big. They're tending to give to what they can see and touch. It is more short term. Those, and I suppose I have to use the word courage, those who have the courage to give 10% of their age, they are living for their family. That's their default. This morning, when I was again turning my alarm clock off, I woke up to our Rainforest Foundation thermometer, and this morning it shifted from blue to green. All of you are great. You have donated $25,001 to the lungs of the earth. This is legacy giving. And, you know, I'm a trickster in a certain way. What you see on the thermometer doesn't count offline donations. We have another 1,500 donated, but I don't tell you that. That way we're not just reaching for this, but keep climbing. Shri Krishna continues the specifics from sattva to raja, now to tama. Verse 13. Aprakasho pravrittischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante vivriddhe kuru nandana. Your translation. Your translation is joy. See, you already got it. Here's your specific translation. Aprakasha, darkness. Apravrittihi, laziness. Pramada, carelessness. Moha, confusion. These are awful vices. If someone showed you an application and shared, I have these vices, you would never hire such a person. You would never want to be in a relationship with such a person. Tamasi etani jayante. All of these arise from tama, which we've generalized as laziness. Vivriddhe kuru nandana. If this describes you, Your dominant guna or quality is not sattva or raja, but rather tama. Quick show of hands. How many of you feel you sometimes have darkness inside of you? You have dark thoughts. Apravrittihi, that you prefer the couch over going for a walk, by show of hands. Pramada, carelessness. You forget names. You forget your keys. You forget your car. And moha, confusion. Confusion about the purpose of life. See, we are tamasic also. And that's why we have to live carefully. Sharing some. Shri Krishna has given the most beautiful charts for us, but I'm going to share one more. Sattva is a quality where you are evolving. If we rewind back to day 1 of Meaningful Mornings, and now we're on day 1014, if you're evolving, that means you're nurturing sattva. Raja is where you are aging. Your body is aging. Your mind is not mature. Then you know that Raja is there. I interact with all age groups. A observation I've made in some of those who are older, who verbally share that they're sattvic, but I observe that they're actually rajasic, is as they get older, they become more intolerant, more irritable. That means they're not evolving, they're just aging. And completing this chart, tama is when one is devolving. Devolving. You're not staying neutral in mind. Your mind is becoming weaker. This is what Sri Krishna is sharing in verses 11, 12, and 13. I'm going to read to you some harsh insights from Pujya Swami Chinmayananda about tama. Energy is dormant, capacity is gone, and thereafter eating and sleeping alone become the individual's main occupations in life. Remember Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna only slept, then he ate to sleep more. You know who else does that? Bears. We're humans. The natural effect on the personality of a human who is living such a life is that, as an individual, they become heedless of the higher calls within themselves. Nor can one be, in fact, a Ravana-like destructive criminal. Even to be bad, it needs a good amount of enthusiasm and an endless spirit of activity. They not only become incapable of responding to the good or the bad in them, but also slowly sink into delusions. They miscalculate the world around them, misinterpret their own possibilities, and always make mistakes in determining their relationship with the world around. When thus, an individual fails to understand rightly themselves, the world outside, and their own right relationship with the world around them, then life becomes an error. Their very existence, a sad mistake. Harsh insights about the awfulness of tama. Last insight, as a build-up of the forthcoming verses. As you think, so you develop. Shri Krishna is making this more intense. As you live, so you die. And as you die, so you live. being tamasic today, if I justify that, this is going to make me tamasic tomorrow. Being tamasic in this lifetime, I'm going to be tamasic in the next lifetime too. This body has little to do with the qualities. It is the mind. What's dying in us? The body, not the mind. From inspiration to application. Your application was to listen to the recording of chapter 4, verse 13. This morning I was feeling very grateful for technology. The meaningful mornings happened for 18 minutes, but it can happen again and again and again. All of our effort is captured for longevity. Relatedly, today, our cruise gift to all is the recordings for chapter 7 have been released. The second part of Bhagavad Gita starts in chapter 7. Your application for this morning is to try to come up with 2 specifics in terms of comparisons. I don't know how to verbalize this. Remember I showed you about Sattva is evolving, Raja is aging, Tama is devolving. That's like a reflection for me. You come up with 2 such like comparisons. Shri Krishna has given some, I've given some. You come up with 2 of your own. Shanti, 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 be joy.